What's up guys, it's your girl Dana. Welcome back to another episode of CARIBACAD. Today we're going to be doing some practice for CSEC French again, orals. This is the final question on part D actually of May-June 2014. So I'm going to be going through the reading passage and the guided conversation, and I'm going to be sprinkling some tips and tricks here and there. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end and grasp all the content and all the juicy bits of it so that you're well confident and very competent in the examination room. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, here are some quick tips for you. So you're going to be in the oral examination. It's going to be you and the examiner. Sometimes the examiner can be a native speaker, so I want some of you to be aware of that. When I was doing CSEC French, I got a native speaker from, I believe, Martinique. So your native speaker could come from Martinique or Guadeloupe, who knows, even France. So it's good to just have that in mind. But that should also be as a motivation to you to continue the practice and to keep it up. Watch videos like this, get as much practice as necessary. Also, what I advise you to do is speak as audibly as possible. I know your nerves might be on you and you want to whisper the answer, but it's best that you speak loud and clearly so that the examiner doesn't have to stop you and say, please speak louder. And then you're gonna be in an awkward situation where you probably forget what you were gonna say, and then you end up losing some marks or freezing and not saying anything at all. So from the get-go, speak loudly and clearly. The next thing I would say to students is just breathe, relax yourself, but most importantly, just use what you know. I always say it to students in my classes and the tutoring sessions. Some of the lovely students that I work with, I always tell them to use what you know. Especially if you're able to understand the question, but you don't know exactly what you want to say. If you know something that would be appropriate, go ahead and go for it. Let's say they ask you, what country would you like to travel to? Tu veux voyager à quel pays? And you'd love to say the United States, but you don't remember les États-Unis for United States. All you can say, and let's say all you remember is Canada. Go ahead and say, j'aimerais visiter or j'aimerais voyager Canada. That's good enough. They don't know exactly, where you want to go, and it does have to be accurate. But once it's appropriate, you will definitely lock in the marks. So today I have with me my trusty laptop, and I'm going to be reading the questions, of course, and I'm providing the answers that I've prepared for you today. So I've actually written down 2 answers to each question roughly. Some questions are kind of different, so the answer kind of depends. But these questions are really supposed to act as guide to you, just pointing you in the right direction so you can answer quite similarly. But the main purpose is to really help build you up vocab-wise and show you how you should appropriately respond. Alright, let's get into the video. Question 1. Tu fais quelle taille? Tu fais quelle taille? Je fais de 40. Je fais de 40. This question is actually 2 parts, so they could have asked, tu fais quelle taille? Or tu fais quelle pointure? So the response to that one is ma pointure est 40. Taille is size and pointure is shoe size. You can actually give the same I don't want to say give it the same response. I have 40 for shoe size and 40 for regular clothes size. Remember, France, the clothing is different from like the American system. So your shoes, I think like an American 8 is like for shoe size. In France or in Europe, it's 40. So their system is quite different. So that you can adapt your answer to their system. So the next question is 2. Qu'est-ce que tu aimes acheter quand tu vas en ville? Qu'est-ce que tu aimes acheter quand tu vas en ville? J'aime acheter la nourriture. J'aime acheter la nourriture. J'adore la mode. J'aime acheter les vêtements. J'adore la mode. J'aime acheter les vêtements. Your questions don't always have to be one-ended or just a one simple sentence or just a one word. Like this question is asking what do you like to purchase when you're in the city or in the town. You don't have to just say les vêtements or la nourriture or les souvenirs. You can actually give a complete sentence. That's actually preferred. But if you want to be an advanced student and place yourself in the Caribbean, I taught the Caribbean during my year when I was in high school, and I didn't give like a one sentence response. I kind of my goal was to have a conversation with the examiner, and actually I ended up doing that. And even after the exam, we're still conversing in French, and she was asking me about what I wanted to do in the future, sixth form life, all of those things, what I wanted to do in sixth form, all of this stuff. So if you want me to make a video on how you can really prepare yourself to talk French in the Caribbean, or how to really get more conversational in French, then I would be happy to make a video like that for you guys. So make sure you let me know by commenting in the section down below. P.S. I really appreciate all the subscribes and likes and shares on our videos recently. I've seen that our channel is really growing, so like I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, and I'm so glad that I'm helping so many students out there. So if you like our content, like don't be afraid to comment down below or to give it a like. I really look forward to those. Thank you so much. Alright, so la troisième question est: où aimes-tu faire les achats? Où aimes-tu faire les achats? J'aime faire les achats dans mon magasin préféré. J'aime faire les achats dans mon magasin préféré. J'aime faire les courses dans le centre commercial. J'aime faire les courses dans le centre commercial. 4. Si tu avais beaucoup d'argent, qu'est-ce que tu achèterais? J'achèterais une voiture. J'achèterais une voiture. Si j'avais beaucoup d'argent, j'achèterais une maison. Si j'avais beaucoup d'argent, j'achèterais une maison. Right? Question 5. Alright, I hope you're enjoying the video so far in these responses. Use them as guide, use them as much as you can, and keep practicing. Even if you have to pause the video and then watch it again. If you say, what you said, I didn't hear, watch it again, play it back, play it forward, and use the timestamps down below in the description box. That's always helpful as well. So, question 5, c'est: quel est ton magasin favori? Pourquoi? Le supermarché, c'est mon magasin favori parce que c'est spacieux. Le supermarché, bien sûr, c'est mon magasin favori parce que c'est spacieux. La librairie, parce que l'on peut acheter les romans magnifiques ici. La librairie, parce que l'on peut acheter les romans magnifiques ici. Yeah. Les romans magnifiques. Numéro 6. Qui choisit tes vêtements? Qui choisit tes vêtements? Ma mère choisit les vêtements parce qu'elle a une carte de crédit. Ma mère choisit les vêtements parce qu'elle a une carte de crédit. Moi, je préfère acheter mes propres vêtements. Moi, je préfère acheter mes propres vêtements. Numéro 7. Où se trouve le centre commercial le plus proche de chez toi? Où se trouve le centre commercial le plus proche de chez toi? Il se trouve pas loin, c'est juste au coin de la rue. Il se trouve pas loin, c'est juste au coin de la rue. Il est situé devant ma maison. Il est situé devant ma maison. Now we're moving on to question 8. This is an open-ended question, so my advice is to definitely try to expand your response and give 1 or 2 sentences, even 3 sentences would be perfect and use as much vocabulary as possible. Parle-moi d'une journée que tu as passée à faire des achats. Parle-moi d'une journée que tu as passée à faire des achats. Pendant mes vacances de Noël, ma mère et moi sommes allés au centre commercial pour acheter les cadeaux pour mon petit frère. Nous sommes arrivés très tôt, vers 6 heures, et nous sommes rentrés très tard, vers 18 heures, par presque 12 heures de shopping. Pendant mes vacances de Noël, ma mère et moi sommes allés au centre commercial pour acheter les cadeaux pour mon petit frère. Nous sommes arrivés très tôt, vers 6 heures, et nous sommes rentrés très tard, vers 18 heures, presque 12 heures de shopping. Now for the second response. Pendant mes vacances de Pâques, j'ai dépensé 200 € sur une montre dans une bijouterie. C'était cher. Mes parents étaient en colère contre moi. Once more. Pendant mes vacances de Pâques, j'ai dépensé 200 € sur une montre dans une bijouterie. C'était cher. Mes parents étaient en colère contre moi. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the button down below and join our community. And these videos, as mentioned before, are only an extension to what we do. We tutor French and Spanish students who are struggling in CSEC Spanish or are doing exceptionally well but need an extra boost, an extra push to stay on top. If you're interested in our lessons, you can always visit CARIBACAD.com or check out the link in our description box to sign up for lessons. Alright, time for the reading passage. Just a few pointers before we begin. Quite similar to the pointers I mentioned before. Read the guided conversation. Make sure you're audible. Make sure you're clear, but also make sure you're confident and enthusiastic. If you go into the passage and you're reading like this, c'était un grand bâtiment en acier, en béton. Like, your French could be spot on, but there's no energy. And, you know, the examiner probably gets dozens of students a day and hundreds to deal with in a month or the entire exam period. So if you're really boring and dry, they might, who knows, fall asleep in the examination room. But once you show your enthusiasm and put some life, vif into it, it will definitely work out in your favor. Alright, so the title for this passage is The New Mall. The titles are usually in English from what I've seen, and I've gone through years and years and years of past papers. I guess this is supposed to serve as some guide as to what is being mentioned, but don't worry if you don't understand what's going on. It's really your pronunciation and intonation and fluency that really matters. Alright. The New Mall. C'était un grand bâtiment en acier, en béton et en verre à 3 étages. Il y avait plusieurs magasins, 3 cinémas et 2 aires de restauration. Il y avait aussi un grand parking avec de la place pour plus de 500 voitures. Les propriétaires prévoyaient des visites de plus de 260 000 personnes d'ici la fin de l'année et pensaient ouvrir un 2e centre sur la côte ouest de l'île. Ce centre vendrait surtout des articles de luxe et aurait des restaurants de grande standing. Il y aurait des cinémas aussi. Moi, je rêvais d'y aller car j'adore le shopping. Mais avant tout, je voulais aller au cinéma parce que dans les salles de cinéma, on passait des films en 3 dimensions. What a lovely passage. 3D films, huh? Now don't worry if you don't understand. The most important thing is just reading it as fluidly as possible and not counting, but really making yourself heard. Just some pointers here. Liaisons are really important in French. So when a consonant at the end of one word is followed by a vowel in another word, you have to have like a linkage, or kind of like a flow into it. So a good example is if we look back at the first sentence here at the very end, at trois étages. So trois ends with an S and étage starts with an E, right? A vowel. So you have to link it and say trois étages. We can't say trois étages, it has to be trois étages. That's just how it works in French. Another example is, I believe it's the second line. Trois cinémas et deux heures. Can't say et deux heures. You have to link it. Deux heures. Deux heures. Use the liaison. That's just something you should note or jot down. Also be obedient to punctuation marks. Still a reading passage, just as you'd have to obey punctuation marks in English. It's the same for French. This passage doesn't have any question marks or exclamation points. Also, if you see that, make sure you raise your tone, raise intonation. But there will be full stops and commas. That's a given. Make sure you pause and slow down when you see full stops and commas. And of course, when you have accents in French, pronounce accents, obey them accordingly. You know, every word is different, but especially accent aigu, you have to ensure, you know, that I would say is the most distinctive accent in French, and it has a sound. So if we look back at words like béton, c'était, étage, prévoyez, and cinéma, those all have accent grave within the word. So you have to make it really audible. So c'était, étage, prévoyez. You can't say étage, c'était. You have to c'était, cinéma. Just make it clear and very audible. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for staying and sticking around. I just want to ask you one more question before you leave, just as extra practice for you. Quand tu voyages, est-ce que tu achètes des souvenirs ou quelque chose de spécial? Quand tu voyages, est-ce que tu achètes des souvenirs ou quelque chose de spécial? Leave the answer in the comments down below. I'd love to correct some of them, which I've been doing from time to time, so I'd love to see your response. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out the videos that will appear on the screen right now, and I will see you in another video. Bye now.